Chapter 1: Discovery and Preparation. In September 2077, a meteorite strike on northern Italy kills thousands, prompting humanity to establish Project SpaceGuard to prevent future disasters. By 2013-30, SpaceGuard is tracking 500,000 asteroids when it detects an unusual object near Jupiter, designated 31/439. Unlike normal asteroids, this object lacks a light curve, suggesting either perfect symmetry or no rotation. Astronomer Dr. William Stenton's telescopic images reveal the object is spinning at an extreme rate. Initially fearful it might be a dead sun with destructive gravitational potential, reminiscent of H.G. Wells' The Star, Stenton dismisses this theory given how deeply it entered the solar system undetected. SpaceGuard names the object Rama. The Space Advisory Council, SAC, convenes to discuss Rama, with Chairman Professor Olaf Davidson initially opposing research on such a small object compared to galaxies. Despite Davidson's preference for revalidating the Big Bang theory, the older astronomers who support the modified steady-state theory vote to send a probe named Sita to investigate Rama. The photographs from Sita's reconnaissance mission reveal Rama isn't a natural object, but a constructed hollow cylinder, confirming it as humanity's first visitor from the stars. The SAC sends the spaceship Endeavour, led by Commander William Norton, to intercept Rama before it orbits the Sun. The Endeavour reaches Rama inside Venus's orbit. Norton faces the daunting challenge of landing on something larger than any moon or planet he's visited. He receives delayed advice from astronomers monitoring the mission, much of which becomes irrelevant by the time it reaches him. The Endeavour lands on Rama's north pole to remain visible in sunlight, with Lieutenant Joe Calvert reminding Norton of the theory that Rama could consist of antimatter, which would cause a massive explosion upon contact, a scenario that fortunately doesn't occur. The crew has approximately 40 days to complete their mission before Rama moves into perihelion, unsafe proximity to the Sun. Afterward, Mission Control will send fuel tankers to bring the Endeavour home, though Norton acknowledges that Rama might render the Endeavour expendable at any moment. The United Planets, UP, a confederation representing human colony settlements throughout the solar system, forms a Rama committee with representatives from Mars, Mercury, Earth, Luna, Ganymede, Titan, and Triton, along with specialists including Professor Davidson, archaeologist Thelma Price, exobiologist Carlisle Pereira, science historian Dennis Solomons, anthropologist Conrad Taylor, and historian Sir Lewis Sands. Martian Ambassador Dr. Bose declares the committee's objective to evaluate the Endeavour's operations in real time. After reviewing Norton's qualifications, the committee discusses potential dangers, including concerns from a social movement called Pandora that believes unsealing Rama may doom humankind. After considering the possibility that Rama might be inhabited by living beings, potentially creating disaster for both humanity and the Ramans, the committee concludes that Norton should proceed with entering Rama. Chapter 2: Initial Exploration. Norton finds Rama's total silence disturbing. After their first day on Rama's outer surface, Norton and his life support officer, Carl Mercer, embark on their first extravehicular activity, EVA, setting guide ropes between the ship and one of the pillboxes. While traveling between the ship and the pillbox, Norton discovers a wheel embedded in Rama's dome, which he suspects is a manual airlock. After determining his actions haven't raised any alarms inside Rama, Norton and Mercer attempt to turn the wheel clockwise without success. Realizing he was operating on human assumptions, Norton tries the wheel counterclockwise, successfully opening the airlock. Before entering Rama, Norton records video messages for his two wives, Caroline on Earth and Myrna on Mars. They're on good terms with each other, though neither will leave their respective planet to meet the other. Norton explains the locking mechanisms and the design of the initial corridor, noting that the Ramans appear to build everything in threes: locks, doors, and chambers. Comparing his mission to British archaeologist Howard Carter's excavation of King Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922, Norton prepares personalized messages for each family, realizing these recordings might be his final communication with them should something go wrong. When Norton passes through the last corridor into Rama's interior, he drifts out into its central axis but can't see the end with his flashlight. He observes artificial terraces and ramps, initially believing he's inside an abandoned mine. However, when he lights a flare to illuminate the space, he's astonished to discover Rama is approximately 10 kilometers wide, with walls covered in detailed landscapes, including what appear to be bodies of water, pathways, and organized settlements. In the center of Rama, a dark band circles the cylinder's interior, which Norton suspects is a frozen sea. Reorienting himself, Norton realizes he's at Rama's highest point, with everything extending to a symmetrical crater in Rama's south pole. As gravity increases due to centrifugal force, Norton drifts toward one of the curving walls. As the flare dies, he becomes the first human to witness proof of intelligent alien life. The crew fires additional flares and begins mapping Rama's interior geography. They establish a base along the axis of the northern hemisphere, renamed the hub, where 3 ladders lead to a terrace. The southern hemisphere bowl, while symmetrical to the northern one, features spikes instead of stairs and a central hub. They name the area between the bowls the central plane, with its defining feature being the cylindrical sea, a dark ring at Rama's halfway point. An island covered with structures sits in the middle of the sea, which they dub New York, theorizing it might be an industrial complex. The crew identifies 6 distinct towns, naming them Rome, Peking, Paris, Moscow, London, and Tokyo, all linked by what appears to be a railway system. The Rama Committee reviews this information with awe. Dr. Pereira proposes that Rama is a space ark, citing British physicist J.D. Bernal's 1929 theory of interstellar travel and colonization. He explains that given its size, Rama likely journeyed over millions of years, with evidence showing at least 200,000 years since its last visit to another star. Despite the apparent absence of life, Pereira theorizes that an automatic guidance system could be driving the ship forward. Mercer leads the first probe team into Rama with Calvert and Technical Sergeant Willard Myron. They ascend from the hub using ladders that trisect the bowl's edge, experiencing the Coriolis force as they climb. After reaching the curving stairways leading to the central plane, they discover the gravity makes normal descent difficult, choosing instead to slide down the handrail. At the stairs end, Mercer notices the air pressure and oxygen levels rising, removing his helmet to breathe Rama's musty air. After testing the stairs' ascension design theory and returning to the hub, they report their findings. Chapter 3. Deeper into Rama and climatic changes. Norton confers with Surgeon Commander Laura Ernst regarding the probe team's health. While Mercer and Calvert are fine, Myron is exhausted due to lack of exercise. Ernst urges Norton to ensure all crew members maintain fitness levels suitable for exploring Rama. They discuss logistics for traversing the hub efficiently, with crew members developing a sled for ascending ladders and stairs and placing searchlights to illuminate the path. Norton plans to lead the next probe team to the central plane, including Calvert and a third member determined by Ernst's fitness assessments. He reflects on his isolation as captain, forbidden from close relationships with crew, to avoid accusations of favoritism. His closest affection is for Goldie, one of the ship's genetically modified chimpanzees, Simps, with prehensile tails that perform routine maintenance. The second probe team, consisting of Norton, Executive Sergeant Jerry Kirchhoff, and Communications Officer Boris Rodrigo, a member of the Fifth Church of Christ, cosmonaut, which believes Jesus came from outer space, reaches the first stairway platform. Norton encourages them to discard their respiratory gear as they descend to the plane. After safely reaching the bottom, they plan to visit the nearby Paris settlement. During a detour through a canal designated the Strait Valley, the team observes it's one of 3 symmetrical valleys that stop before the cylindrical sea. Norton rappels down to examine the crystal-like material at the bottom, experiencing déjà vu that reminds him of exploring an abandoned railway in England 30 years earlier. Conscious of preserving his psychological health amid Rama's mysteries, Norton decides against taking samples and returns to the surface. Meanwhile, Dr. Pereira urgently reconvenes the Rama Committee, warning that Rama's temperature is rising as it approaches Venus. This will eventually cause solar heat to penetrate Rama's interior, creating hurricanes that could threaten the explorers. He recommends evacuating Rama within 12 hours. Ernst leads a mission to the cylindrical sea with Rodrigo and reconnaissance technician Sergeant Peter Rousseau. They discover a straight cliff with a 50-meter drop and stairs built into it that seemingly led nowhere, terminating below the sea's frozen surface. Ernst confirms the sea is frozen by cracking its surface and collects ice samples, confident any pathogens would have manifested by now. Rousseau suggests walking across the ice to New York, but Rodrigo disagrees, believing the ice will soon melt given the rising temperature. As they leave, Ernst feels a faint breeze. Pereira elaborates to the committee that as Rama's interior temperature rises, the cylindrical sea will melt and air will expand toward the central axis. Combined with Rama's extreme rotation, this will create violent turbulence. Norton establishes a new camp on Rama's plane called Camp Alpha, feeling guilty about abandoning equipment due to the difficulty of retrieving it later. Chapter 4. Renewed exploration and new discoveries. After Rama's hurricane subsides, the committee reconvenes. Despite his accurate forecast, Pereira is sheepish for overlooking the cylindrical sea's melting. The Hermian Mercurian ambassador proposes the Endeavour's crew re-enter Rama, suggesting its revitalized systems might threaten humanity. He notes Mercury's vulnerability given Rama's proximity to its orbit. When questioned about Rama's navigational capabilities, Pereira posits it has a space drive using anti-gravity instead of rocket power. This explanation clarifies the purpose of the asymmetrical cliffs bounding the cylindrical sea, containing water during directional shifts. The Hermian ambassador reiterates his concern about Rama's military capabilities, while Sir Lewis Sands argues that such capabilities don't necessarily indicate hostile intent. Rodrigo approaches Norton with an urgent message for his church on Earth. He believes Rama is a cosmic ark meant to save those judged worthy of salvation. He theorizes that when Rama reaches perihelion, it will change course to park in Earth's orbit, guided by either an intelligent robot or a spirit. Norton agrees to send the message if he can also share it with the Rama committee. Norton leads a new probe team through Rama's entrance, where the climate has dramatically changed. Clouds hang over the terrain, obscuring previously visible features. Testing the atmosphere, Mercer finds unexpectedly high oxygen levels, allowing the team to remove their helmets and breathe the humid air. Descending through the cloud layer, they discover a curving waterfall, a demonstration of the Coriolis effect. The water's green color suggests organic life developing, showing that in just 2 days, Rama has experienced the equivalent of 300 million years of Earth's natural history. The Endeavour's crew proceeds to the cylindrical sea, fashioning a small raft named Resolution after one of Cook's ships. An analysis of the seawater confirms it contains nucleus-lacking microorganisms generating oxygen, though Ernst warns they're in rapid decline and should not be consumed. A team consisting of Norton, Executive Sergeant Ruby Barnes, Rousseau, and Rodrigo sails to New York. Upon arrival, Norton quickly realizes it isn't a settlement, but a complex industrial machine lacking accommodations or entryways. There's no indication of where materials are stored or processed, leading Mercer to suggest it draws resources directly from the sea. After taking pictures, Norton feels increasingly unnerved by the island's silence. Junior Officer James "Jimmy" Pack approaches Norton with a proposal to scale the South Cliff by flying along Rama's axis. He reveals he smuggled a skybike called Dragonfly aboard the Endeavour, logging it as recreational stores. After a successful test flight, Jimmy embarks on a mission over the cylindrical sea, taking pictures of everything he encounters. As Jimmy approaches the South Pole, he sees it differs entirely from the North Pole, lacking stairway platforms and featuring buttresses, linking spikes that resemble a massive temple. He anchors a line to the central spike, which he calls Bighorn, and touches its smooth, warm surface. When he approaches one of the little horns, his transmission becomes garbled, and hub control urges him to retreat from the apparent magnetic interference. Jimmy hears an intense sound inside his head, which he believes is Rama's voice. Chapter 5. Discoveries and Threats. During his return flight, Jimmy experiences a growing sense of foreboding and notices his arm hair standing upright. He's caught in a strong electric field. As lightning emits from a little horn, Jimmy panics and loses altitude attempting to escape. He realizes the spikes are part of an energy dispersal system connected to an unseen source in the South Pole. A strong electric wind forms from the air pressure difference, and fire explodes from Bighorn, knocking Dragonfly out of the sky. Jimmy deduces that Rama's South Pole is a motor component. When the spikes return to dormancy and the electric field dissipates, he attempts a controlled crash landing on a flat plane. Upon regaining consciousness, Jimmy discovers a large crab-like creature dismantling Dragonfly's remains with mechanical precision. Observing from a distance, he realizes it's a robot with mechanical tools rather than a living organism. Jimmy follows the crab to see what it will do with Dragonfly's parts. They reach a well filled with green water called Copernicus, where the crab dumps its contents. The crab approaches Jimmy but shows no interest in him. Later, Jimmy sees something moving along one of Copernicus's ramps that suddenly vanishes, but he decides not to report this phenomenon to Hub Control. Returning to the southern cliff, Jimmy passes through fields arranged like a checkerboard, each made of different materials: quartz crystals, hollow columns, woven wire, tessellated tiles, slippery material, sponge, and plowed fields. He discovers a fenced square with a hole leading to 3 tunnels, which he guesses is an elevator shaft. Beyond lie barren fields covered by impenetrable plastic sheets with wire trellises containing a single bright flower. Jimmy strips off his clothes to reach the flower through a pattern of rods. After picking it and 2 leaves, the remainder of the plant retreats into its roots, making Jimmy feel guilty. He justifies taking the flower as a memento should he die on Rama. Meanwhile, a crisis develops regarding how to rescue Jimmy. After considering various options, Dr. Pereira suggests a solution that shocks Norton, but might work. Norton sails the Resolution to the southern cliff with 6 crew members. When they arrive, he instructs Jimmy to jump, using terminal velocity and a delayed parachute drop to break his fall safely. Jimmy tosses his flower down to the sea for retrieval, then leaps off the cliff using his shirt as a makeshift parachute before plunging underwater. He successfully reunites with the Resolution crew. Suddenly, the horns on the South Pole reactivate, creating a cone-shaped light. Hub Control reports a violent earthquake in Rama's northern hemisphere, generating a tidal wave approaching the Resolution. Norton confirms the Endeavour is undamaged, but reports Rama's movement patterns suggest a trajectory change. Barnes skillfully navigates through the wave to escape its wake. Before reaching shore, the crew witnesses a starfish emerging from the water, flanked by 2 lobster-like creatures that deconstruct it. Norton orders Barnes to return to safety and resolves that no one will sail the cylindrical sea again. Chapter 6. Final Discoveries and Departure. Norton establishes new protocols to protect his crew from the Raman creatures, including assigning an observer in the hub. Despite this precaution, a 3-legged spider-like creature enters the camp before Norton, Rodrigo, Calvert, and Ernst are scheduled to sleep. The spider moves rapidly, registering every piece of equipment it finds before departing. Norton alerts all crew members to its presence, warning against starting an unintentional conflict with the Ramans. Hours later, hundreds of spiders appear across Rama's plains, except in New York. Ernst wants to examine one for scientific purposes, but respects Norton's directive. When one spider falls from the hub's vertical face, Ernst gets her chance to study its corpse, discovering during dissection that it's composed of organic material and light metals with internal energy cells, confirming it's more robot than animal, designed for monitoring. Meanwhile, the Rama committee meets without the Hermian ambassador, causing Bo's concern given the ambassador's previous sentiments. Professor Davidson theorizes that Rama is reorienting itself to become part of the solar system, using either internal gyroscopes or a space drive propulsion system. Considering the various robotic creatures encountered, now termed biots, the committee concludes Rama has a hierarchy of robots based on function, though their origin remains unclear. Norton receives an urgent encrypted message that requires his code book from the Endeavour. Executive Officer Kirchhoff delivers it discreetly inside a can labeled concentrated orange juice. The message reveals Mercury has launched a high-speed vehicle, actually a missile, that will reach Rama in 7 days, suggesting the Endeavour evacuate immediately. Norton destroys the message, contemplating his next move. Using its long-range telescope, the Endeavour spots the missile. Norton orders his crew to evacuate Rama and return to the ship. Admiral Hendricks confirms the missile's destructive power and cautions Norton to withdraw to a safe distance. In a UP General Assembly meeting, the Hermian ambassador justifies the attack by portraying Rama as a threat to humanity, citing clauses from the 2057 Space Treaty. Norton asks Rodrigo how this development fits into his religious beliefs. Rodrigo views it as part of the age-old conflict between the forces of good and the forces of evil, and proposes manually disabling the bomb. He argues that the missile likely lacks traps and estimates he'll have at least 10 minutes to work undetected before Mercury receives any surveillance signal. After considering his options, Norton decides that survival is not everything and authorizes Rodrigo's mission. Using a modified scooter, Rodrigo reaches the missile and begins cutting its cables. When something activates inside the missile, he investigates further. Despite receiving a warning from Mercury to leave Rama within the hour, Norton waits anxiously for Rodrigo's outcome. After disarming the bomb, Rodrigo cuts the surveillance system cables to prevent the Hermians from monitoring their missile's effectiveness. His readings confirm the missile will miss its target. Following Rodrigo's safe return, Norton records a message for his wives stating his conscience is clear. He notes they have 2 more days to explore Rama before it reaches unsafe proximity to the sun, after which no human will visit it again. He explains their plans to return to Mars or Earth by Christmas, expecting a long service leave afterward. For one final exploration, Norton, Mercer, Myron, and Calvert return to Rama to investigate one of the buildings in London. Myron uses a laser torch to cut an entrance, revealing an interior resembling a glass temple with hundreds of transparent columns containing holograms. They realize they're viewing a catalog of templates that the Ramans can instantly generate, just as they generate the biots. The team spreads out to photograph as many holographic objects as possible, frustrated they can't collect tangible artifacts. Calvert discovers a partial spacesuit image, providing their first glimpse of Raman biology. They appear to be about 2.5 meters tall, with 3 arms and 3 legs. Suddenly, Rousseau calls them back to the hub, reporting that Rama's artificial suns are dimming. Norton orders everyone to abandon their equipment and return to the ship immediately. During their ascent, they experience ground tremors and hear a high-pitched whistling noise that seems to be a warning, reinforced by strobing lights pointing toward the cylindrical sea. Rousseau reports thousands of biots either throwing themselves into the sea or being deconstructed by other biots. Norton believes Rama's automated systems are preparing for perihelion. Taking his last look at Rama before departing, Norton sees mist covering its south pole and the cylindrical sea breaking over the continental cliffs. The Endeavour retreats 100 kilometers from Rama, monitoring its movement toward the sun. 2 days later, Mercer reports Rama has stopped moving. As Norton positions the Endeavour in Rama's eclipse to observe further changes, the ship unexpectedly begins rolling, caught in a powerful gravitational field. Norton realizes Rama has activated its space drive, requiring no visible energy exhaust to create movement. Rama accelerates past the trajectory needed for solar orbit, appearing to fall toward the sun. From a safe distance, the crew watches as Rama spins rapidly and envelops itself in a protective cocoon that reflects sunlight. The cocoon stretches into an ellipsoid shape and begins drawing power from the sun's magnetic field. Revealing the sun was merely a power station Rama needed to continue its journey. After several revolutions, Rama exits the solar system, heading toward the Large Magellanic Cloud. In the aftermath, Ernst visits Norton with news that the Martian government has granted him permission for a 3rd son, using his frozen sperm since he was sterilized upon joining the service. The child might be born before Norton returns to Mars. While off duty, Norton and Ernst have sex, and he confesses feeling sentimental about Rama rather than his relationships. Though successfully completing his mission without casualties, he feels he failed because the Ramans likely never knew of humanity's interest. He believes nothing in his remaining life will compare to his time on Rama. Back on Earth, Dr. Pereira awakens from a dream reminding him that Ramans do everything in threes.